I'm flat.
The New York State meaderies also sell bottles there, off-site bottles with a marketing permit.
Wow.
So, but that's only New York State. It gives an advantage to the New York State meaderies. But the out-of-state meaderies, they couldn't sell. They could give away tastings, but they can't sell anything.
Yeah. But they can collect names to contact later and let them know about things they've got maybe on VinoShip or
Well,
whatever.
they can keep an email list, they can do that.
Yeah, so, I mean, they can benefit from it. So any meaderies out there listening, they're going, well, hell this, I'm not going to New York. Yeah, you actually can give out tastings, and people love this stuff, so you get their information, contact them, follow up, and it's called marketing. Huh?
As long as you're licensed.
As long as you're licensed, yeah. And, it's called marketing. You collect their information, and then you inform them about what you have, and maybe offer them a, new customer discount or whatever it is that you do, and then hook them up. There's lots of ways to skin a cat.
One of the members, one of the members of our club, he runs a company called Starfish Junction, and they do a lot of events, all along the East Coast, but a lot on Long Island and New York City and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They reach out to them about when their next festivals are going to be.
I think this is Starfish
Junction. Kind of reach out for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hamish says they ought to offer free internet to be able so that people can buy their stuff online, so they can just buy it right there on the spot.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is. Hamish thinks like that. He's an engineer.
Of course he is.
Yeah, of course he is.
That's going to be my roommate come after the Mazer Cup. I have to look for him for 2 weeks.
That's right. He's coming out to you. That's cool, too. He'll have fun out there, especially when he's got you to help him find his way around.
Yeah. That'll be good.
If I wasn't going to be fashed and flat broke after a week there, I'd probably drive up and hang out with you guys a bit. But, yeah, by the time I get back home, a 12-hour drive is not something that I'm really going to want to do.
Hey, don't worry. You can get home on Monday, and you come up that weekend. That'll be the one weekend that we'll go down to the city.
Oh, there's a thought. Might just do that. Give me some extra time in the city.
I gotta admit, I'm sure as hell looking forward to it.
Hey, look, he's alive.
We'll have some fun.
You'll have a good time, Hamish. New York City and environs is a fascinating place. Utterly fascinating. I couldn't live there on a bet, but I find it. I never get tired of it. It's too crowded for me. I love visiting. I'll visit lots of times. I can't live there. I just couldn't. Yeah.
I'm just astounded that there don't seem to be too many gut meters actually in New York. Like I've contacted 2 people so far. And no one else has admitted to living in New York. It's a bit of a surprise.
Have you hit the forums or just the Facebook groups?
Just the Facebook, yeah. I probably do need to get onto the forums.
Hit the forums, yeah, because that's where we've got a lot of people that go back a ways, and the Facebook groups are a lot of them are newer people, That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that some of the old timers are going to be on the forum. And wow, I drank an entire bottle of mead. Go figure.
Nice.
Well, it was a 500 milliliters, so it wasn't a whole bottle, but 3/4 of a bottle, or 2/3 if you want to get picky with the math. So yeah. Sorry, what were you saying, Bobby?
That's about the size of a pecan you dig at Mead.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so good, Bobby. So good.
I got like bottles.
I got to get more of that. I don't know if there's any left. Did he sell out?
I think you should do another one.
I'll have to talk to him and see if I can sweet talk him out of a stash.
Yeah, then I think we're gonna do another mead coming up in the springtime.
Nice. Well, I saw the raspberry cheesecake one. That's just kind of terrifying.
Yeah. Well, oh no, that's his.
I know.
We're gonna. I think we're gonna do a Bocce. Bobby Bocce. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I've kind of on the fence about Bocces. I had several of them, and there's a line there that's a thin line, and once you cross it, then you get into a flavor profile that to me tastes burnt.
Tastes burnt? Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line. It's like pepper. It's like capsicum melt.
And you never leave it. And
No.
once you get that torch taste, to me, I can never get it out of my
Can't
mouth.
get it out of there. Yeah, that's just like lemon pith. That taste, it takes forever to age away, if it ever does. And I've had so many bouchers that step just a toe over that line, and that's all it takes.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
2 minutes too long on the stove.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I've been kind of on the fence about I love the concept. I think it's a great caramelizing honey to me. Seems like a wonderful idea. But I'm on the fence about it in execution because I haven't seen a lot of them that really grab me.
Wow.
Commercially
I got
or
one.
for home. So
The one that I made the other day, Sergio took one sip and he said, "Will you brew it at my place?" I said, "Sure."
Nice.
So we'll see, but there's a lot that goes into it.
One of the things, especially for homebrewers, I've found is when I've done a small boucher, the difference in time in cooking it on gas anyway, on the stove, it was about 15 seconds to 20 seconds between almost right and, oh crap, I've gone too far. So I think one of the tricks might be to do a larger volume on a very low heat.
I can see that. I can definitely see staying with a lower heat, going longer.
I think that makes more sense. It's harder to burn it if you're at a lower heat. It takes longer, and that might be frustrating, but I'd rather be frustrated and have something that I had better control over.
I agree.
I mean, I haven't...
Once burnt, it's burnt. You're never getting away from it. You
Yeah,
might as well dump it.
I was really shocked as to just how quick it went from tasting okay to irrevocably burnt. There was no gradient. It was flipping a switch.
Mm.
Jaden's saying a slow cooker for 7 hours. At what temperature, Jaden? Low, medium, or high?
Well, that's fine for a slow cooker, but if you're going to make something in a meadery, there's not a 400-gallon slow cooker.
Yeah, I wonder. It'd be interesting if bouchers take off. If the people who make the heater blankets that you can wrap around a 55-gallon drum to liquefy the honey so that you could pour it, if they made one that went high enough that you could slow cook your mead inside the heater blanket, or slow cook your honey. Yeah, I mean that would be a great if bouchers took off. That would be a great alternate use for them if they could get one that ramps up that high.
Well, actually, you can. I have a beekeeper near me who approached me to help him make some mead because he had a failure in his warming room. Now he has a warming room where he can put 6 IBCs of honey to get them up to temperature to pour them. And he'd had a failure over the weekend, and it had gone up to 95, which would be almost boiling, whatever boiling is in Fahrenheit. Someone tell me.
Yeah,
212, so probably around 200 degrees.
Yeah. So it got up to about 200 degrees, and he did that for the weekend, and he came back, and it was all caramelized. So that's with a commercially available system. Yes, you can do it. It shouldn't be a problem commercially if that's what you wanted to do. It's just a bit of an outlay in equipment.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen a couple of meaderies that have warming rooms, like you were saying, that they've built basically, even just big plywood boxes that they can bring up to a certain temperature for a certain level of time. So you could easily make something like that at home for like a 5-gallon pail or something. Jaden's saying you have to stir it all the time. And he does his on low. But yeah, I mean, the style is taking off to the point where I foresee a point where they give it its own category if it keeps going at the rate it's going. Because we went from hardly anybody doing them a couple years ago to everybody and their brother is bouchering stuff now.
Well, it's fashionable now.
It is.
And if it doesn't, but if it really doesn't catch on, or well, it's catching on, I guess.
Well, I think
but
if
people really come to that quality,
if people master the technique, then
Yeah.
we'll see a lot more of it. But I've had several commercial ones, and they ranged from okay to pretty darn good. I haven't had one that I went, oh my God, this is amazing yet. That doesn't mean it's not out there. It just means I haven't had it yet.
Was it a commercial or a homebrew?
These are commercial. I've only had a few of the home brews, and almost all of them had crossed the line. And this was back when people were first starting to do it. So, nobody really kind of knew what the line was.
I have one in a barrel right now.
Ooh, what kind of barrel?
Hill Rock Farm bourbon barrel.
See, I'd like to take
Oh.
I'd like to take the honey and age the honey in a whiskey barrel and then bochet it. I think that would be really interesting.
I would think that the honey in the barrel would do two things. I think it would pull the moisture out of the wood
Yeah.
and leave the barrel unsound, or it would crystallize the barrel.
True. So you don't think there's any way to imbue that,
Well,
that smoky whiskey flavor
short-term,
into
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Short term, maybe for a week on a wet barrel where you could pour it out.
Yeah.
But after that, not really. Because if you left it in the barrel too long, it pulled the moisture out of the wood, then the staves would shrink and it would actually leak.
Yeah.
Or even worse, if it caramelized all in the barrel, how would you get it out?
Well, there's that, yeah. You'd have to destroy the barrel to get it out of there. Well, I wouldn't say bochetting it in the barrel. I would just say, I was just thinking in terms of barreling the honey and then using the barreled honey in another container and bochetting that.
Well,
but you're right.
if
I think
you
it would
had-
draw the moisture out of the barrel and the barrel would become unsound. You'd have to find a way to maintain the moisture of the staves so that it wouldn't shrink.
Yeah, and then you would have to worry about a crystallization.
Well, there'd be a temperature component in there that you probably have to go with to keep it from crystallizing, or to just
Yeah, or you could
discourage
probably heat it
crystallizing.
up, leave it in the sun in summertime, and it would probably warm up enough
Yeah.
to get it out.
Okay, so Joe Abruzzo is saying that Blackheath barrel aged their honey and then made a mead and then put it back in the barrel and said it was really amazing. Yeah. And he also said Garage East is doing one, but he doesn't know if it's out yet.
It can be done short term. It's long term. That's, I think, the problem.
Yeah, well, and from a commercial standpoint, the quantity, is going to be difficult too. Take that much honey, put it in barrels, and then the barrels are ruined for everything else.
Well, no, if you've got a fresh done 5-gallon barrel, you could put 5 gallons of honey in there, leave it for 2 weeks, and get it out. If the honey was fresh, the temperature was right, I think you could do it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to then go use that barrel for much else, so it's all sticky at that point.
No, but if you were making the mead, you could certainly put the mead in there.
That's true.
And that's for sweetness, and just and then you could draw it out afterwards. But I think that leaving it long term, where you start to say, we'll leave it in for a month or so, I think that's where you might run into problems.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting experiments. What about you,
No,
Andrew?
it certainly is.
Yeah, it is. What's the weirdest or most out there thing that you tried making mead? Your experimentals. Andrew, did we lose him? I think we lost him.
Oh.
We did. I don't know if I should I bring him back in, Bobby, or just let the poor man have his remaining evening?
We're 11:15 already.
Yeah, we're late now, so.
All right, maybe let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah. I'll email him or text him and let him know what's going on. Well, I think we're going to wind things up, guys, for this first show back in 2018. And we'll have Andrew back, and he's going to bring one of the people who is educational coordinator for the BJCP, because it appears that they're redoing the mead test. So some changes are coming, and I think it'll be really interesting to find out what they're up to.
Yeah, I'd like to find out more of how they do the tests.
Yeah, me too.
What to expect on it.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I'd say the more you know.
Yeah.
But now you guys got me fired up. I think I may have to just go